Now, it's just in a video. It's not very often that something in tech gets me interested, right? Because tech is tech. Tech is one. It's like a screen. Tech is one side, and tech venture is the other, and they're completely separate. Facebook won't be using 1995 technology, but the text concept that Facebook had many years ago, and Google had many years ago, and Amazon had very the concept itself is still relevant. The tech can be, that's it, recycled, scrapped, whatever, and then rebought. The latest tech. But the concept is still the same. But it's, see, I like watching Peter Jones, the cog, the dragon, because he understands tech concept. I like to see the cogs going around. His reasoning, brilliant. And anyone that, if they've got a tech concept pitch, they always usually want Peter Jones to be the dragon that makes them the offer. It doesn't always work that way, but they're almost going for one dragon to make the offer, and that's usually Peter Jones. But I like to see how he reasons, and he understands that tech concept. But the thing is, and this particular concept, you may have seen the pitch. It's about getting people, because you can, about the apps, getting apps into in front of people, or getting people to use the app. So people may have downloaded the app on their phone, but they may have about 3 or 4 screens of apps that they don't use, or that they very rarely use, which is no good to the person that made the app, who wants the ad dollars from the app, but the ad dollars will only come from the person, from traffic to the app. You can have the best app in the world, but you're competing with that many people with apps. And then again, there's a lot of people now that are YouTubers, and for you to be a YouTuber, you've got to have a Google account, yeah, to be a YouTuber, which is what you use. To have that, you then have access to Google search, which means, excuse me, not a cough. But to have access to Google search, you then will use Google search more often, which means you'll click on the website address and not the app. And it's that someone, now I watched they're designing an app. It's great, and they will get a lot of traffic to that app, because they have a lot of YouTube subscribers, and they've probably got an YouTube audience of about 200,000. But you're still competing with every other app, aren't you? And where would you go for that app when the YouTube video is pretty much say where all the things are, all the things on the list and things? They can say that on a YouTube video to their existing audience, because you've got to either, like YouTube, or eBay, you're going to have a YouTube channel or an eBay account to sell online on eBay, and you can feature your products on YouTube, but you're going to the audience. To have an app or a website address, you are having to go and try and get the audience and redirect the audience from a online platform, and produce an article which, when they click on it, redirects into your website address or your app. But so I like to see, and the scenario is actually about getting people to go on apps, but there's that many apps about anyway. It's like website addresses; they can be reproduced in minutes. You can just reproduce a website address, or actually make a new one, just basic, and they can have it done in half an hour, right? And that's it. And there's that much. That's why Google has no competition, because there's that many people creating website addresses that Google that is just creating competition to appear in Google rankings, which means that people will pay Google pay per click. Google can't lose. Microsoft knew that years ago. The world's richest person at the time, Bill Gates, knew that Microsoft has no competition. And because what's the point of having all the? I'm a Google user. It's not having an app, but most of the sites that I'd probably go on, domain name sites. I don't know. There's not an app for the domain name site. You just go on. You type it into Google, and you go on Google, don't you? So I don't need an app for a lot of the app. I don't need an app. People designing apps have got this problem. You can design apps, but it's no good if people can't, because the ad dollars will only come to the apps with traffic, and if people aren't using your app all the time, you won't get the traffic, which means you won't get the ad dollars. Any YouTuber can tell you this, because some YouTubers actually make half a dozen videos and it get so popular, loads of subscribers, whatever else, yeah. And some will make lots of videos, themselves, get hardly any subscribers, no ads. But it doesn't bother me because I make. It's why do you make the app? Why do you make the website address? Why do you make the website address a website? Now, none of mine are websites. I own a lot of domains. I own a few domains. Right? A few domains. I have no intention of making any of them a website. None whatsoever. I don't. Because the website address is the land, and the website on it is the building. But the building can't exist on the premium land if it doesn't own the website address, e.g. the land that it wants to sit on, or be built on, or its owner wants it to build it on. And that's why you're having now website address rentals and website address leasing. People having to lease websites. And leasing, it's like a car. If you don't pay the full lease agreement, you haven't got your car, are you? If you don't pay the full lease on that domain name, yeah, you'll use it and your brand will be on it. But if you failed that payment, you will not have that website address to build you. So then you've got to rebuild your website address again, or put it on a different website address. Then your customers will come to that website address that you used to lease, that now no longer lease, which is now empty. And then you lose your customers, don't you? It's all about traffic, and it has been for years. This is why one of the best domain conferences back in the day was traffic. Although I don't know much about it, I know the person that ran it. One of the best domain name addresses in the world. But it is traffic. I had a concept back in the day, which I did make a website, and it was because I've always thought of parcel delivery could be funded by advertising dollars, which means that parcel delivery could be provided. It would cost nothing for a person to send a parcel, but they would have to do it via a website, and there'd be ads on the website which actually would fund the app. Like Google could run a parcel website address, and it wouldn't cost Google a penny to run it, and everyone would be able to send a parcel for free. That's a concept that I had about quite a few years ago, and I had the ideal website address for it. I bought it for about 10 quid because I was that far in front of the concept. And even like now, you can't send your parcels every day. You got to go to the post office or whatever, or UPS or whatever. And or is it GSM or is it Broad or whatever, you have to pay. Only because a website cannot generate enough advertising dollars to actually fund it. Google can, Facebook can if they wanted to. Google and Facebook could buy UPS with loose change, so could Amazon. That's one of the world's biggest, if not the world's biggest parcel carrier. But it just shows how rich Google and Facebook and Amazon and Microsoft founders are. Not that. Because and this is where we're getting to. We're getting to tech. It's not the tech computers. Oh, that's a fancy computer. Oh, wow, yes, so it is. No power, no computer. It's the tech concepts and who's going to buy what. And then you think, what happens if the tech giants sell out? Who can afford to pay $1.5 trillion, a couple of $1 trillion to buy them? And it might have to be a culmination of all the other tech giants to actually buy one of them out. This is what I got. This interests me, which is why you probably switched off about 8 minutes to 8.5 minutes ago. Right? But this is why I make videos, because YouTube is global, and even Facebook and Google bots, they watch YouTube at some point, I'm sure. But this is me. I'd like to see Dragon's Den, Peter Jones thinking tech. When he thinks tech concepts, it's good. For me, it interests me. But I wish he would actually be an internet dragon, so people on the internet could pitch. And at some point, I think that people will actually sell their domain name portfolios to Peter Jones, because the domain name is the digital land for the internet. Yes, you can have all your website designers, you can have as many as you like, but unless you have the land, you have nothing. And domain names are the land. So at some point, someone's going to walk into that den, Dragon's Den, with a portfolio of domain names, and they're going to be proper peaches. And they're going to want millions of pounds for them. It's not very. Within 5 years, it'll happen. Within about 5-10 years, someone's going to walk up the Dragon's Den with a portfolio of domain names. Don't want no business, no numbers, nothing. The numbers won't add up. They just own the most peach website addresses on earth, and they will want top dollar. There you go. That's just me waffling a bit about tech concepts, things that's my cup of tea. I've got interest in it. I own the domain names of my ideas. But I've got absolutely zero interest of making them anything more than just ideas. But then again, for someone else to actually make them an idea, they've got to buy from me. And unless I want to sell, they can't. That's owning digital land on the internet. All good fun. Excuse the phone, because I've sat on it a few times. It's packed up and all sorts. How the camera still works is I don't know. All good fun. Adios.